for this project, I want to draw this chicken. Now you can decide whether or not it's a really young chicken or whether or not it's a little bit older chicken. There are some other things you could do. I didn't leave room for it, but you could do some takeaway lines here and put eggs coming up like this, and maybe this is one of the first chickens that's hatched, or maybe it's a few weeks old and the other ones haven't hatched yet. You could put eggs on the ground, you could put candy on the ground, this could be inside on a table, you could put a handle on this basket. So there's some things you could do for creative changes. I've got some straw or grass coming out from under or for my bird to sit in. And then you can put other things in the background too. You could put little tiny plants back in here somewhere, or flowers like tulips. So there are some things you can do to make some changes. We need to get started with the drawing, and we're going to have to turn our paper around at first like this, because we have to do some measuring to get that first line. I'll show you. Here's the line we're trying to get, but we've turned our paper like this, so we've got to make a line that goes over here, down like that. So what I want to do is, let's get our fingers made like a C and freeze them. And then put your finger at the edge and then slide your finger up on the paper. And you've got your fingers like a C. Now see, it's made like a letter C. There's a good bit of space in there. I can put 3 fingers in mine. Just lay them down on the paper. Now we're just barely up over the edge. I only want one dot right there above your thumb. I'll darken that dot in so you can see it. Here's what I did. I froze my fingers like a C. I slid in. I put a dot right there. Now watch. Pay close attention to this, because here's how we get the length for this line. See, the line is this long, and here's how we get it. It's going to be as long as you can stretch out your finger and your thumb. So here's what we'll do. Stretch out our finger and our thumb like this. Put your finger there. Actually, you can just lay your hand like that. Let your finger touch that dot. And then stretch your thumb, stretch out your thumb this way. Don't hurt yourself. But stretch your thumb down this way. See, it makes like a letter L. And we want to go from right up in here, straight down like this. But watch me do it first. I'm going to do a light line because we may have to make some changes to it. I want to start at this dot. You may have to move your finger back out of the way a little bit. Start at that dot, and I want to go just like the edge of the paper. The edge of the paper goes straight down like this, and I want to go straight down like the edge of the paper until I get down here where my thumb is, and then I'll stop. Now you can't see that, so I'll darken it in. I made a line. It came down the paper just like this, and it's about as long as between my finger and my thumb if I stretch them out. Now the basket is going to be like a rectangle, only it kind of spreads out wider at the top. So here's how we do that. First, we have to draw the dots for the rectangle. What I'll do is I'll just slide 3 fingers over the top of this line like this. You could go up and come down. And you want fingernail, finger, fingernail, dot. And go ahead and put the dot right there, and make sure you're straight up above the end of this line. And then come across and down, up and across and down. We want another dot right here as if we were going to make a rectangle. Now if I said triangle earlier, I meant to say rectangle. This should be flat across here, and it should be right above the end of this line. And we put a line right in there, like that. And let's make this line a little longer. This line didn't come out long enough to suit me. I want to make our basket with slanted sides, so we're going to have to run this line out a little bit more on this side and a little bit more on this side, so that when we connect our sides, they slant. Now I want to go from here to here, and from here to here. Put a little tiny curve there. It's like the bottom of a letter B, small letter B, and a little C right there. And run those together. This is the bottom of the basket. If I had drawn a line that dark and then needed to change it, I can never change it. But if I draw this light, it's easy. This is regular, this is light. This can be changed and erased very, very easily, and this cannot. So you want to draw light whenever you're trying out a line, to see if it's going to look right. Or if you know you're doing a line that's going to have a takeaway piece. If I knew I had to take away a piece of this line, I would have drawn it light. All right, let's put a little rim on top of this basket. Let's put a dot out from the corner on both sides just a little bit and go up. Let's do an up line and an up line. Cross the top with a flat line. And then when you darken it in, if you want to go over it again, darken it in, you can hook it to the corners. Hook up your corners, and it gives a nice little rim on the top of your basket. Now we're going to start putting the chicken in it. This chicken looks kind of young, so I don't know. It's still, we could still make this like mama chicken, or it could be the baby chicken that's just hatched. So it's up to you. You can decide what you want yours to be, and then that's what it is because it's art. Put your finger right here and slide 3 fingers right down against it. You're about halfway across on the basket. 3 fingers, and we're going to go fingernail, finger, fingernail. And we're going to put a dot here, but really I want a V. I want an alphabet letter V. This is the beak of the chicken. And I'll go over top of that with a small curve like that. And then I'm going to come off the corner like this with a little curved line, and it looks like a letter T that's falling over on both sides. Now, I'm going to go above that. See, I'm covering that with my finger. And I'm going to put the bottoms of the bird's eye. Chickens are birds, by the way. Penguins are also birds. And then I'll put the rainbow-shaped parts on top of that. I'll do the colored part of the eye. And if this is Mama Bird, and she would probably want some dark eyelashes. And she might want a really thin eyebrow. I don't know about that, but we're giving chicken parts that they may not really have, but it's art, so you can make stuff up. Now I want a big letter C that goes from up here to down in here somewhere, and I want it to end up being a circle around this chicken's head. So I make the C lightly, and I see if there's anything I need to change on it, and if not, then I'll darken it in. If that looks good, then I come around this other side with like the front of a letter D. I hook those up, and I try to make that really nice and round. And that looks good. While you're catching up on that, I'll go ahead and darken this in so you can see it better. Now, among chickens, the mama sits on the eggs, but I mentioned penguins a minute ago. Among penguins, the father sits on the eggs. Alright, let's give her a little decoration on the top of her head here. And if you do little marks for feathers, keep those light, because if it's a young chicken, which that's really what I want it to be, the feathers are real fine, almost just thin. They're just real thin and very light. Alright, let's put a body on this chicken. And this is the shape of the body. It's going to hook on to the sides of the face or the head. And ever how you make this line is going to determine whether or not your chicken's really fat, really skinny, or anything in between. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slide my hand against the chicken's head, and then I'm going to back it up this far. I'm going to come down, and I want to go from here with a very light line, because I may want to change this to here. And then I try to make another one just like it. I'm trying to make this new one just like the one I did on the other side. Now I've got my chicken in a really big basket, but that won't hurt anything. Now go out from the corner. We're going to put some wings on this bird. Go out from the corner. Well, ever how much room you've got, don't go out to the edge. I don't know how big your basket is, but I'm going to need to jump about 2 fingers from the corner of this basket out to here. Jump about 2 fingers. And then I'm going to go right here where the chicken touches the basket, and I'm just going to move up that far and put a little hook on point right there. A little hook on point there. And I'll get my 2 fingers, I'll jump my 2 fingers over here so that I've got the same thing on both sides. Now I'm going to make the bottom of the wing between this dot and that dot. You can barely see it. Let me get in. And I make W's. Here's a little W. And another one. And another one. And I keep going with little W's. If you hit the rim of the basket, just stop. It don't matter. The wing can be, part of the wing could be hidden by the rim of the basket. That's fine. And I just hook up those W's, and you see they're not perfect. Just hook them up until I get all the way across. I'll go over here and do it again. Don't spin forever on this. Just go across there. It doesn't have to be. These don't have to be perfectly formed little letters. It's just showing an edge that's not straight and smooth. Represents the feathers on the bird, on the wing. All right, I'm going to put the wings on now. And we're going to start out by going just a tiny bit uphill. Let me show you on another one I've worked on here. We're going to go right in here, and we're going to go up a little bit, just a little bit, and then we'll hook that wing on. This is what we're trying to get. We've already got the body. We've already got this. Now we're trying to get this. And here's how I do mine. I'll go right in here, and I'll bring my finger down and put another line that makes this look like a V. See, I put a line in there, and this line and that line together look a little bit like a V. It's kind of a fat top V, but it's still a V. Then I hook onto this, and I bend it. I take that line, and I start to bend that line, and I bend it until it points to the tip of the wing, to this line I made earlier, and let's come down and hook them together. Then I do this. And then I'll go 1, 2, skip a few, 3, 4, maybe one more. Just put some lines in there that indicate that there's feathers coming down across that wing. Now we've got to go over here and do this other side, so I'll slide my finger down and get that little V shape in there first. And then I will bend this line. I bend it over until it's pointed this way. Let's come down and hook it on there. I'll get these little curved pieces in, and then I'll put a few lines for the feathers. I think I put maybe 5 or 6 on the other side, just so that it looks good. I'm not going to try to get that all perfect, because it's not going to change anything. To go back and work on it and work on it and work on it, it's just going to get you behind on something else. All right. I'm going to put this bow on the chicken's neck. If you want to, you could erase this ruffled feather decoration here and put it on the head. Then I've got some straw here. I'll put a cloud in mine, a sun, horizon. Now you could decorate this basket any way you want to. Put eggs on the ground. Put eggs here if this is mama chicken, or maybe it's a baby chicken, but it's the first one that hatched, so you can still put some eggs there. The other ones just haven't hatched yet. So there's a lot you can do for fun. And you fill this up with candy or just anything you can think of. I made my chicken's head a little bit smaller than I like it, but I've already darkened it in, so it just has to stay. When I do the ribbon, I almost always do the same thing. I start with a circle. I go slant up on both sides, and then I slant down on both sides. I'll hook onto the end and loop back on the bottoms. And then I'll get on this tip of this line and I will bend it. And I'll keep bending it back and forth until I get down to here. I get on here and I bend that line and hook on there. I come straight down like a big gigantic L every how long I want my bow, the ribbon coming off the bottom of my bow to be. And then I back up a little bit on this one and I go this way. I run these back up. And to tie it around the neck, I put like a V here and usually double the line. Now that gives you a place to put some nice bright color. You can put a few little marks to show that this is not smooth, that it's feathery. Now I've got some wings to darken in a few minutes, and I'll work on that later. But a couple more things. I always like to put a line that separates the foreground from the background whenever I have an opportunity. And this is good because this could be indoor, outdoor. It could be on a porch. It could be in a house, on a table. So you can have foreground and background. This could be sky and grass, like in this one. And if that's the case, I'll draw me a shape for the sun. I usually put a few clouds in just to keep it from it being a large area of color without any breaks. I like to break up my color some. You've got a lot of room to decorate your basket, and you might have room. Let's see if you can get your fingernail above the bottom edge. That's the best place to put your name, right here, like that. And now I'm going to show you something about color, and then I'll let you go back and do some creative thinking and some coloring on your picture. But I've got some coloring on a sheet, if I can find it. Here it is. I've got some coloring on a sheet, and you go to the top edge and you go back and forth about 2 fingers wide, and you keep it short and flat like this. This is good coloring. That is a mess up because it's too long and it looks like your crayon or your colored pencil got stuck on a windshield wiper. Looks like a windshield wiper's made that right there. Alright, that's a mess up. That's not good coloring. It should have been short, flat. This is a mess up because it's kind of flat, but it's too long, and the strokes just go. They just start to go different directions. Here's another mess up. I'll show you one more mess up, one more good color, and then I'll play you some music and let you work. This is starting out to be good color, good color, good color, but as I go, I start to change around, and now it's a mess up because I didn't stay the way I started. Now you can turn your paper. This is not mess up. Turn your paper this way and go this. As long as it's short, flat, and follows the top edge, you can turn your paper upside down. I don't care how you turn your paper, as long as all the strokes go the same way. Short, flat, one way, smooth. All right, that's that for that. I'm going to darken in my picture a little bit more and color a little while, play you some music, and I hope it was fun.